Then they get scared the day, once they get the material. But
Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack, sports life and everything in between. Hodge, Misty, and Josh rocking and rolling here in the Potosi Live studio in the Mall of Abilene. We're glad that you're with us post Super Bowl. What now? We'll talk about that, but we're here ready to roll. Misty with her XO, which you can hear that song by Trisha Yearwood on 106.9. The Country Giant, how we doing this morning?
good. I'm tired. Josh and I were saying we were kind of dragging in this morning. It's been a great week, but yeah, I don't know. A little sleepy this week.
Very, very busy.
Yeah.
So
Stuff
Misty
going on.
had proof because she posted a picture. She's a social media picture, that she was at the junior achievement there last night. Were you there?
I guess if there's no pictures, there's no proof, so no, I wasn't there.
Oh, I figured it would be a requirement as a chair.
He was.
I'm past chair,
Yeah.
way past. Like,
He's like, don't put me up there. I've done my time. No, Josh was there, Leanne. They looked great. Yeah, it was fun. It was
Now-
like a winter. It was giving like winter vibes with the decor. I loved it.
Now-
Frozen
it was very well.
Where was it?
Yes.
Where was it?
at the country club.
Great job, Jinx. Y'all both each other a coach or whatever. So now I'm shocked on you because as someone that everything that we do that we're at, you are, let's get a picture.
Uh-huh.
So the fact that you didn't make sure you two got a picture
I know.
little shocks me. Almost like if we were grading last night's performance,
I
Misty,
didn't do.
I'm kind of shocked because you
job.
couldn't prove that he was there.
I know. I will say we saw each other early in the night, and as it got full, it was full. I mean, it was like you were shimmying to get to where you needed to go. And so I don't know that I saw y'all after. Like after we actually chatted, I mean, I saw them from across the room or kind of, where their table was, but after that it was busy.
It
So
was very, very busy.
hard to
And
get
so
back
explain
to
a
each
little
other.
bit where y'all were at, what the event was.
Yeah, so Junior Achievement of Abilene puts on a business hall of fame, and they honor leaders in the community that are leaving a legacy. And they've been doing this for, several years, and probably 10 plus years ish, 15 maybe, something like that, or
I think
when was it?
well,
Almost 10 years, something like that.
I can't.
It's been at least-
I didn't go to the first one, but
The first one I'm pretty sure was Wesley.
No, that was the second
Okay.
or third, maybe the third. But anyway,
Yeah, for a while. And they just honor, it is a fundraising event. They honor these recipients, and there's a video on each one, and then they get to come up and say a few words. And yeah, the group last night, I was like, man, how do you top that? Like, great group of business leaders in our community and just genuinely amazing people. And they honored the late Larry Hall, and it was just sweet. Like, it's such a sweet event and very well done. And so, yeah, kudos
Because you had
to
Ron
them.
Butler, Sean Martin, Shay Hall,
And Ted Evans. Mhm.
And y'all heard us talk about junior achievement again, Misty and Josh. Josh, obviously way past no longer anywhere near leadership whatsoever. And then Misty, we talked about the golf tournament. We've been a part of their golf tournament. Junior achievement does a really good job in the community and plugging in the schools here in the big country. And so congrats to those folks last night. But anyway, so that's why I was, what y'all did. And again, Josh was for sure there. We'll work on pictures later.
no evidence.
No evidence whatsoever except Misty saw you, and we'll see how
That's her word versus mine.
we'll see how credible her witness
Yeah,
is.
we'll see.
But anyway, so it is Valentine's Day, and so we'll talk. So how do y'all handle Valentine's?
We don't.
You wore a pink shirt.
I did.
I mean, I am doing some Valentine's, festivities at work that Josh is oh so excited about. But other
Well,
than
I mean,
that,
fortunately, he doesn't work with you, so.
yeah,
he
you
doesn't
don't have to
worry
do
about
it.
I don't have to. It sounds miserable.
So, again, one of the shows that I've enjoyed listening to, Unsportsmanlike, they were talking about this yesterday. One of the guys, Evan Cohen, he and his wife have been married as long as Tracy and I will be June, 17 years. Chris Canty, the former Super Bowl champ, or the played for the Cowboys and a couple other places, won a Super Bowl with the Giants. And then Smallman, Michelle, I mean, it's literally like us. Josh could be Canty, I'm Evan Cohen, you're Michelle. And they talked about how the longer you're married, the less importance Valentine's becomes. They're like, no, you got to make it a big deal. So y'all don't make it a big deal?
No, I mean, when the kids were a little bit smaller, we would go kind of on a family date, but normally we would do it a couple days before or a couple days after, never going out on Valentine's Day. If we did go, we would go somewhere like Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, because guess what? If you're listening and you're like, "Ooh, where are we going to go?" Go there, because it is never busy on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and so Valentine's Day's here, and hope you have a great Valentine's Day. And I'm not sure what we're doing tonight. When I was coaching, we were hopefully still playing basketball, and now since anyway. So Valentine's Day, we've got some pink on. Josh has some somewhat Valentine's red. Yeah, it's in the family. Speaking of the family, we've got Super Bowl talk. We'll talk about it. How did y'all handle the blowout? I mean, I was with you, Josh, for the first half, and how was your Super Bowl watching moments or experience? We'll talk about the game in the second segment, but
Well, I mean, it was just, it's rare that I guess Super Bowl just gets like kind of that out of hand. But there was always the hope, I guess, of just as far as for entertainment purposes, I really had a hard time. I actually turned it around. I decided not to be a Debbie Downer on Sunday, as I was like getting ready for the game, getting stuff together at the house for people to come over. I had this epiphany. I don't have to be upset about this. Either team wins, and it's a good thing. And if either team loses, it's a good thing. So that's how I went like.
so you really had no. I'll be honest.
No, I got heated about it, how much I hate the idea of a dynasty, but I also hate the idea of a division rival winning a championship.
Or possibly a new dynasty
A
starting.
new dynasty starting, yes. And so I was very torn. But then the way that all played out, I was just like, yeah. But for pure sports enjoyment, I kept thinking, all right, Kansas City's going to turn around. They're going to do something. They're going to, second half, maybe they come out hot. And then, like, as the third quarter kind of went, you're like, yeah, nope, this is it.
So how did you handle Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same, but I was kind of like you. I'm like, okay, third quarter, second half, like it's over. And then it was, 34-0 at one point, I think. And I was like, whoa, like this is over. And obviously the final score doesn't really reflect just how terrible it was. But no, it was wild.
40-22, the Chiefs could have scored 39 trash points, and the Eagles could have won 40-39, and it still would have felt like a butt kick.
And like
a destroying. And my struggle was, I felt like I didn't care who won. I was kind of rooting for the Chiefs. I was okay with history. But I think
we had no soul. I explained that last week.
True story, and I went forward on Sunday. But depression's not the right word, but disappointment was, it would have been like watching WrestleMania and Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, or you name the two top big wrestling acts, or the top, you name it, boxing guys, whatever. And they get in the ring, and they get on the mat, and they get on the field, on the court, you name the sport. Golf, whatever. And you literally have one of the best in the business crap the bed.
Yeah.
And that was and we'll talk about the game, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. But that was my biggest thing about the overall Super Bowl experience. I got over there to Tracy's aunt and uncles to watch the second half, and it was just terrible, and they were playing beyond. And I literally was like, I did not see this coming. The Eagles winning, fine, but Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs looked like it was a regular season game, and they did not belong in the playoffs.
Yes, I mean, it was, I 100% agree. It was totally surprising that Patrick Mahomes looked not just not good, but looked bad.
Yes.
You know, like, as I think it might have been you that jokingly said that, when are they going to Wentz? Like, it looked like he needed to be benched, which obviously you're not gonna do in that situation. But
that was my running joke. Like, the ultimate Super Bowl story would be Jalen Hurts and Tua and bench Mahomes, and Carson Wentz comes back and beats his former team to win the Super Bowl. That was the only thing that I thought. But yeah, you're not going to do that. But it was so bad, and that was my struggle. That's what, and so how I handled the blowout, I didn't handle it well because I was so looking for, because we mentioned it. This was your best Super Bowl matchup. The only other
two teams that I thought were very good, and I would put the Bills in there and thought the same, but like those were the teams that I thought were above everybody else.
But I think if the Bills would have been in there and the Eagles blew out the Bills, we wouldn't have been as surprised because it was the Bills' first time there.
Well, right.
But the Chiefs going with everything on the line to be the first team to ever three-peat, to continue the dynasty, a chance to possibly four-peat, and then you do that. It was just so tough. Anyway, so we'll talk more Super Bowl with the game specifically in a moment. But our Lawrence Headline Report, again, check them out at 1385 South Danville. Give them a call, 325-480-1101. Of course, they're always available at lawrencehall.com. Couple things. Kellen Moore is the new head football coach for the Saints. Nick Sirianni's got to figure out a way. We'll talk maybe more about that in the next segment. But Kellen Moore.
Couldn't have gone better for him in that Super Bowl as far as.
Oh, gosh. And there's a scene, and I got about 30 seconds. There's a clip on Instagram, and he and Moore and Sirianni are talking. He goes, just go for it. Just go for it. If we score, it's over. And that's when they threw the deep bomb to Smith, and boom, touchdown. And it was over anyway because I felt like the whole everything. Of course, the last play of the game was Mahomes taking the hand to the face from Jalen Carter. But they were knocked out from way earlier than that. But yeah, Kellen Moore, the new coach of the Saints. It'll be interesting to see if he can carry it on because he's been successful everywhere he's been. Can he be as a head coach? We'll see. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Super Bowl in depth. What does it mean for down the road? And also we'll have some bold predictions for 2025. That's our Lawrence Hall Headline Report. Don't forget, 325-480-1101 or check them out online. We'll be back right after this.
I don't know, I guess I didn't put my cell phone properly on the charger. It was sitting on it.
Oh, so it didn't charge?
Yeah, luckily it's not terribly low on battery, but I've done that before. It's just like you wake up and I don't know. It's very first world problem, but you have like 20% battery when you start the day. Like now, what am I?
Do you have a car charger?
Yes.
Oh, good.
But you got to always remember to
I
plug
know.
it in. It's like, and then you get to work, I'm gonna have to plug it in at my desk.
Yep.
Well, and the hard thing about those is it's literally trying to find the spot to wash your hands on the.
Yes, it's like put it
put your
on
phone.
the magnet thing, but did it actually connect? I don't know.
And
It is so slow, that thing. Sometimes those magnets, I'm like, oh my gosh, it
I think
takes
it's trying
forever.
to find it.
Yeah, it takes forever. Oh, I don't even have any ticket or trash it.
Oh
I
no.
haven't even thought about that. I'm trying to think.
Have y'all heard? Did y'all hear what freaking Dak said? They said that he thought the
We're going to
Cowboys
the
were
Super
close,
Bowl, or yeah,
or
we're
thought that we
close.
were close.
Yeah.
No, close to what, Dak? Close to having your new house rebuilt.
Supposed to be last night.
I'm probably gonna bounce after my bag.
Can you stay at the 8 if we do the, what now?
Because I would have to be back, because I'm picking up breakfast, and I just do not want to be late, so I think y'all got it. I'll just go. I can stay for like a couple minutes, but then I'm out. That way I can get over there, get the food ordered, get it, and get back to the office. How are you feeling about tomorrow night? You ready? Nervous? Indifferent?
Indifferent.
Yeah.
I might get nervous at the time. I don't like pre-nervous. I just, I have, what's the word? When I'm trying to like prepare for things sometimes, I get like, I don't know, it's weird. Like sometimes it's like if I'm trying to be prepared, I actually make myself more nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah. It's almost you're just better on the
but
fly.
I need to do something, you know, to make sure it's not like completely embarrassing.
One of the things that must be right is that football is over, as Matt Bell posted in our Black Plumbing social media question, what now that football's over? He said football's never really over off season and the draft, and it is right around the corner. The draft will be at Green Bay. What will the Cowboys do? We'll talk about that later when we get to our predictions for 2025. As our quarterback feels real confident about where we are.
If you get paid that much money, you're supposed to be confident.
Well, you're also supposed to produce.
Is he just delusional?
Hey. All right, I'm not a Dak apologist, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, when he's on the field, he plays pretty well.
He's very Romo injury-like.
That seems to be coming more and more true. But when he is on the field, he does produce. Like he is no doubt in my mind a top 10 quarterback, and where he falls in that I'm not real sure, but no doubt in my mind he's a top 10 quarterback.
Well, and maybe that's a topic because I mean, again, obviously we'll be looking for things is to look at in the next week or two. In that, I don't know if even being in the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now makes you any good. Because I don't know if there's that 10 good quarterbacks anymore in the league. I think it would be hard once you got to past 4 or 5, coming down to that last 5 stretch, you would have a hard time picking. It's kind of like, we were talking about cheerleading tryouts here a little bit earlier in the show or during the pre-show. We got X girls who's going to be 18, 19, stuff like that. Anyway, But yeah, so Dak mentioned that. We'll talk about that. We'll make some bold predictions in our 2025 section here in a moment. But Super Bowl 59 ends with a Philadelphia win, second Super Bowl, third appearance. They went 40-22. As Misty mentioned, it was not even that close. Pat Mahomes ended up with 3 touchdown passes. Xavier Worthy, if they were given a MVP to those that weren't going to win, he could be a very big straw candidate. But the game actually was, that's one of the things, again, I keep going back to Unsportsmanlike. They were like, last year's Super Bowl, you were talking about it weeks after, about how Kyle Shanahan didn't handle overtime well. Like they didn't take it, and then Mahomes and them went and won it. Was that a good decision? Not a good decision. Wow, what a game. This Super Bowl was so much Again, I mentioned a little bit in the Lawrence Hall headline report on how much of a disappointment it was. Misty, you stepped out to take a call a while ago during the Lawrence Hall headline report, and I said, my disappointment was that we came into this thinking it was the best Super Bowl possible of the teams, and it just did not live up to, and how poorly Mahomes played. 14 yards early on?
And that's one of those things that actually, and this is not, I mean, don't know how to say this without just sounding petty and mean, but him throwing 3 touchdown passes at the end, you look at his line and it doesn't do it justice. I mean, like the first half and into the third quarter was purely pathetic. Like I don't understand what happened. Because Patrick Mahomes is good.
He's the best player in the game.
Well, you played the number 1 defense in the league. I mean, that's what happened. Like the Eagles are just insane. Their defense.
Well, and they are, but his passes were not accurate.
But he's not used to that pressure.
Like just, like I mean, I don't know. It caught me so off guard, and then like his overall, Super Bowl, performance record. I don't. If you just look at the line, I don't think you see how just inept it was.
And it was back-to-back Super Bowls against Jalen Hurts that Jalen Hurts outplayed Mahomes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were playing on that revenge passion. I mean, they had everything, and yeah, their O-line was not protecting, and the Eagles just completely throttled them. I don't think anybody saw that coming, and I mean, almost. Did they score? They scored what in the end of the third? I was trying to remember. Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, almost 3 complete quarter shutouts for Mahomes. I think I had heard that in his career that has never happened. And so we talked last week about this GOAT conversation.
It took a big hit.
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah. Like I don't think there's no debate after the way that you played. Like people will never forget how you played during that Super Bowl.
Well, but I'm going to disagree with this. Brady lost 3. They're not going. They'll only remember if that's the last time you go.
And
I do agree with that. And
if you don't bounce back, and what does next year look like? How do you go Misty last week if Mahomes had a different franchise? I don't think he's going to go to another franchise. But how do you handle this? How do you handle eventual coaching change? To me, next year, if there ever needed to be a fast forward for somebody, it is Mahomes and it is the Chiefs. How do they bounce back from the huge uppercut, Mike Tyson-like that you got from the Eagles? That's where you're going to find out, does your goatness, I get knocked down, but I get up again? Does that happen?
No, it would have to happen next year, yeah.
Or in the coming years. They finally, this year with Xavier Worthy, added a quality receiver that they have not really had since, I guess it was Tyreek Hill left. So they are kind of doing some things, but who knows if Kelsey's going to come back again? And even if he does, he's another year older, and he's behind the 8 ball as far as career goes. So they've got age that's going to start impacting them, and it does with every team, and that's why dynasties are so hard. People leave.
You can't afford them all.
You can't afford everybody. People retire. Just that happens, and that's, again, dynasties are very difficult for a reason. But now they're to almost the point where you're not going to have a breakdown to retool, but because they're not, Patrick Mahomes is still in his prime, but they're going to have to kind of on the fly keep bringing in talent to keep it, going in the right direction.
I think one of the biggest things that you got to really be sure you do, and Misty mentioned it, and her kind of storyline or whatever is could the Chiefs protect Mahomes with the pressure, and they couldn't. You better make sure your offensive line's beat back up. Because it was literally the Eagles dominated both lines of scrimmage, defensively and offensively. And deep down, let me rephrase this. You throw the pick 6, you throw another interception, you have a fumble. I mean, he struggled. If you would have told me that the Chiefs would hold Saquon under 60 yards rushing and he carried it 25 times, and you'd have said, you know what, I bet that the Eagles still win, there's no way I'd have bet that.
That was one of the keys to the game that I said last week, that Saquon Barkley was going to need to have a good game for them to win. I was obviously wrong. Just because Jalen Hurts played out of his mind.
Well, and
Yeah, dang near perfect. I mean,
no, you're exactly
I mean,
right.
almost perfect. I think he had like one or two.
He had the one interception,
Yeah.
but Kansas City did nothing with it.
Yeah.
He went 17 for 22, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. He rushed for a touchdown. He had 72 yards rushing. Jalen Hurts was the leading rusher for the Eagles, not Saquon. And they just absolutely dominated. And for a quarterback who was sloughed off Alabama, goes up to Colorado, Oklahoma and plays well, and then was still kind of like, can he win the big one? Is he good enough? Is he an elite quarterback? Along with his head coach. And then he goes and outperforms the best player in the league, whether he's not the GOAT, maybe the GOAT and possible longer waiting now, but outplayed him again in another Super Bowl. And my question is, you talk about dynasties. Now, Sirianni's got to replace Kellen Moore again, but they've got to keep that team together, and could it be an issue?
Well, and yes, and if you don't know what inside the room looks like as far as replacing an offensive coordinator, who comes in and can build that rapport with the right people and all of that. But
Well, they did it 2 years ago when they went to the first Super Bowl, and those coordinators left.
Right.
One went to Arizona, one went to Indianapolis. They took a year off, not so great. Retooled Bangino. Bangino's not going anywhere. Kellen Moore went. I do think there is some adjustment that takes place.
Oh, I definitely think there is, and that's I mentioned that in the previously how hard it is to have a dynasty, and that's one of the reasons, because your success means other people are going after your coaches, your players. So they'll have to work on that and see how that shakes out. But you're right about Hurts having a very strange career, because even when the Eagles drafted him, a lot of people thought it was just for a gimmick running quarterback. Kind of, he wasn't coming in to be the starter. It was not like, all right, now we got our quarterback in waiting over here. It was just kind of, a lot of people were kind of puzzled by the fact that they even drafted him.
He honestly was drafted earlier than Dak was, but a very similar situation. We'll draft you, we'll see what happens. The difference is he's done it. Dak hadn't. Misty, you've got young kids, Josh, and I don't know. The big other news was the halftime show. What was your thought?
I don't really know what all was taking place. There was a lot going on. I will say the one little part where he directly looks into the camera and says hey, Drake, blah, 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 I guess they have all this beef going on that I'm not aware of, but you talk about ballsy. I was like, wow, he just looked straight into the camera and was like, what's up, Drake? Whatever he said after that, you can go back and look at that. I won't say that on air, but I don't know. It had a lot of elements, a lot of digs. I mean, then Serena comes out, which is an ex of Drake's. I mean, there was just so many things going on, but it wasn't my favorite. It was just kind of weird to me. I don't know. I was just indifferent on it, I guess.
And again, I don't know the music. I don't know any of it, so that's what's hard for me.
Yeah.
Like when Bruno Mars came on a couple
Right.
years ago, oh, I didn't know he sang that. Usher,
Right.
oh, I didn't know he sang that. Snoop, oh, well,
Yeah.
no Snoop. That was, so it's not genre, because there are some, but I just didn't know him.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of his stuff.
I don't either. I knew who he was. I wasn't so under a rock that I didn't, he didn't have name recognition to me. But I can honestly say that I don't know that I have ever listened to a song that he has performed.
Yeah.
It's not randomly popping up on my Spotify. It's just not my thing, I guess. So I couldn't understand the words, and and that's hard anyway, and especially in a Super Bowl party environment, there's a lot of people talking and
Yes.
things going on, and I did get that there was a lot of symbolism and a lot of the artistic stuff that they're doing, like kind of a.
I would even need a map legend and a map key to know what the symbolism was, because I was clueless.
That's the thing that was. It's up to interpretation,
Right.
symbolism in art is up to interpretation, and I don't know what the perceived meaning, what it was supposed to imply to the audience. I don't know, but the Squid Game, prison yard, American flag. I don't know. I don't know what it means.
Yeah. Robert Cheeks has and I agree. I couldn't understand the music. I needed an interpreter. I would have needed Rosetta Stone for that halftime entertainment.
I don't know if the subtitles would have been able to.
It'd have been a court reporter.
No, that poor guy in the back having to do that.
Yeah. Could you imagine sign language and that stuff?
Yeah. No.
Anyway, Super Bowl is over, which automatically means what does 2025 bring? We'll bring some bold predictions right after this.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, pretty ballsy when you look at the camera and just go, "Hey Drake, I heard you blah 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 in this, cell block 1." You're like, "Ooh, shots fired."
Josh, do you remember bringing his ex-girlfriend that apparently?
Yes, I know. Yes.
What? But it definitely, we refreshed it. I sat there and was just like listening to y'all, and then suddenly realized, like, wait, it went off. It was like, how long was it off on the?
Not long.
One of those things that when you get in the heat of the moment, you're like, that felt like a long time, but when I was just fumbling to try to hit the buttons.
I wonder if I can find that. Are y'all going to Coleman?
We're planning by here, depending on when we can. I mean, it's just 45 minutes away, so we're probably gonna go. But I need to leave work a little early.
What am I looking at?
It's funny, this was
Just like when things are packed.
yesterday. I had on a gray, like, sweater kind of similar to this, but had snaps instead of a zipper. But anyway, after work, I stopped by the convenience store on the way home, and I was standing in line, and this guy that was like, kind of rough looking, just like you know, like dirty, looked like he'd been working hard all day, you know, just, he got behind me in line, and I was wearing that sweater, and he goes, "Hey man, that's a nice sweater." And I was like, "Thanks." Just thought that's the weirdest comment, like. Want to shut this?
Welcome back.
You okay?
Oh yeah, welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports off and everything in between. You heard that clip was Dak Prescott coming back as we get ready. Super Bowl 59 is over, which means the next Super Bowl is Super Bowl 60. And according to Dak Prescott, you heard that the Cowboys are very close. And so we're going to look at making some bold predictions for 2025. We'll tie it into with some take it or trash it. But one of the things I do want to mention is you heard that intro on the way back. Josh, that's one of the entries or the music from What I Do by Mark Powell, which again, Outlaws and Legends coming March 21st, 22nd, out at the back porch of Texas. Be sure you get your tickets if you haven't done so. They've got the singer-songwriter contest. Round 3, the semifinal round is tomorrow night, February 15th. And Josh, you're going to enter it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give it a whirl. Haven't done such things in a long time. So just to quote Toby Keith, be as good once as I ever was, or whatever, maybe.
What details? You have to be there. What time do we need to be there? It's here at Hef's in the Mall of Abilene.
Yes, it's from 7 to 11. So it's a little late for me, but we'll see.
What time?
7 to 11. 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's not 8.
Okay.
Do you have a certain time, like you have to sing, or you're not sure?
I think you check in, and then I don't know if it's first come, first serve. I don't know, but we'll figure that out.
But that is tomorrow night. I will tell you, we'll need to be there. We need to talk with our people. You're going to want to get there early because you're playing. Another buddy of mine, Brack Jones, is playing.
He's been on the show.
Yeah, and so anyway, you're going to want to get there, get a table, get a spot because it will fill up tomorrow night, especially with 2 local guys. I don't know who else is performing tomorrow night. But yeah, it'll be good stuff. So Josh entering and putting himself out there, and got to sing 2 originals, right?
2 originals. Yes.
That's good stuff. I like it.
I'm proud of you. Like, that's not easy to do.
It's very, it's very what she said about Kendrick Lamar a while ago.
There's a lot for, in my depth of songwriting, the symbolism, and obviously, no, that's not true at all. It's very shallow.
So how long these 2 songs, like, when did you write them, I guess? How long have these been?
Well, I wrote one song. It's about a drive-by shooting that happened when I guess it was right after it was after college. The house that I lived in was kind of in not the best part of town, and so it was right after Hurricane Katrina, actually, because my new neighbors were refugees from St. Louis, or New Orleans, not St. Louis. From New Orleans, that got relocated to a house in, that was my neighbor. They were actually very nice people, but I don't think that they were always on the up and up. And someone decided to shoot at them. And I wrote a song about it.
There you go. So be sure you're there tomorrow night at Hef's if you want to hear the other talent besides baking and talking sports and baseball trivia, stats that nobody else knows on the planet but Josh and Evan. Be there tomorrow night to check that out at Hef's. All right, so the 2024 season is over, the 2025 season. Dak Prescott said that he feels like the Cowboys are very close. And so I thought, why not make some bold predictions for 2025 as Dak just did, and we will tie it into some take it or trash it. This is not a real bold one, but I will get the ball rolling. The New York Jets have made the decision to not keep Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Glenn says there's only going to be one Aaron voice, and that is not Mr. Rodgers. So Aaron Rodgers will be looking one of two things, either for another team or will announce his retirement in the 5 years of ticking down to the first ballot Hall of Famer begins. Mine is that Aaron Rodgers, semi-bold, will end up with the Tennessee Titans, and they will win that division, and the Jets will be sad.
Woo!
That was like multiple predictions.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
say trash, trash, trash. All of those. It's time to hang it up, Aaron. Just let it go. Go back to the darkness and do your thing. It's just time to hang it up.
Okay. So you think it's time to hang it up?
Yes.
But would you want? Obviously, Mahomes is not going to hang it up because he's a lot younger, and he doesn't want to go out like that he did Sunday. If you're Rodgers, do you want to go out like that?
Well, you don't, but you're going to continue. It's going to continue to get worse every year. And you're only getting older. You could have a life-altering injury. Just hang it up. Like, just hang it up. That would be my advice to Mr. Rodgers.
Okay.
I think Misty's probably correct that that's probably what he should do, but I don't.
Moy just trashed it big time.
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is obviously he is extremely confident. You know, he still in his mind can go and be the difference maker on the team.
But is he overly confident?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, like, what?
I think so.
What are
completely.
you showing?
But the thing is, and
Do
this
you
is,
think he still is even after this season?
I think he is. But I truly think, well, and the reason I think this is when you deal with someone who has been at the greatness of the level that he has, and you can't argue that there was a point where he was the best quarterback in the league, you know, like unlike Eli Manning, and he did carry teams and won MVPs and all of those things. And part of being, especially I think the quarterback position, part of being good at that is being extremely confident in your decision-making process. Extremely confident in your ability to put this ball there. You know, the good ones are that confident and make it happen. The bad ones are that confident, don't make it happen, and they don't have a job. You know, like that's, but to be a quarterback at that level, your confidence has to be on a plane that I don't think mortal humans can understand. I mean, you could even think about like Jameis Winston, like has an amazing arm, you know, had a good run in college, came to the NFL, and he's not really ever been able to like make it happen.
He's the football version of Snoop Dogg right now, though.
Yeah, but that dude can make amazing throws and sometimes does, but he also thinks he can make that throw that ends up being a pick six. You know, like,
And that's where I think Aaron Rodgers is. And
I know,
I'm like,
but I don't. When you're that confident, you don't just say, you know what, I can't do that.
no, I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm with that, but he has not produced in the last couple of years. So what are we doing, Aaron? Like, really, show me production in the last 2 years of Aaron Rodgers.
And if I was a team, I wouldn't want him because the end at Green Bay was not very graceful.
Yeah.
The end at New York, not very graceful. A lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth. Coaches losing jobs. And
Garrett Wilson said he wasn't sure if he would want to stay if Aaron was your quarterback. Which says a lot.
They didn't get along, you know,
Right.
and that's like part of the problem.
And
I don't
Garrett
know
Wilson's going to be around in the league a lot longer than Aaron Rodgers at this stage. So I agree, making the bold statement.
What do you think? So what? I mean,
I think as a guy that it's kind of like you're still gonna. I'm like Josh in that as a competitor. One, it takes a lot to swallow your pride to say when it's over. And I don't think Aaron's probably there yet. He's got to feel like, hey, I probably can do. The biggest thing is he's 40 plus coming off that injury and trying to realize, hey, I've got to figure out a way to come back from that. So I do think there'll be a place for him. Back to what I said earlier, I don't think there's 32 great quarterbacks in the league. There's not a good draft class coming in. Aaron could go somewhere, I think, and still help a team, but his confidence has got to take a back seat. I can't go to the next team and say, you know what, bring in my buddy Randall Cobb, bring in my buddy so-and-so, bring in my buddy this. I'm going to come. I'm going to be the guy. I do think he still can compete at a level.
No,
So, yes,
no
I think-
doubt, no doubt in my mind, he is one of the best 30 quarterbacks on the planet.
Oh,
I-
still,
Yes,
still.
still. I agree with that.
You know, like, it's just a matter of, does a team want to make that move? Are you working on, you know, if you have quarterback number 29 in the NFL, does getting Aaron Rodgers, does it move the needle for you? You know, like.
Here's
like,
a few places, and then we got a couple minutes. I'll let y'all get one. I think he could go to the Raiders and help Pete Carroll. I think he could go to the Titans and be better than Will Levis. I think he could go to, trying to think. He could go to Cleveland and help them more than Deshaun Watson's going to.
They have to do something with.
Right. He could go to the Giants and be a bridge between, stay in New York, be a bridge between whoever they draft and not force that rookie quarterback into the league. So I think there's places he could go and help because of that situation. Real quick, do y'all have any kind of bold statements?
I'm going to say that the Bills finally beat the Chiefs, and they're going to make it to the Super Bowl next year.
I like that one. I like that one.
I'll take it.
I think a lot of people would take that. And wouldn't that be something, the first year with no Kansas
Yes,
City?
that's what I say. Regardless of the Bills, I'm going to say next year that was actually going to be another one that I had. The Chiefs will not make it. They will not bounce back. They will not make it to the Super Bowl next year.
Their favorite. And what's weird is right now, when it ended, the top two favorites were the Chiefs and the Ravens, and then the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why are the Eagles not at least tied to tip?
Yep.
You got one?
Well, you know, I was trying to think of how to word a take it or trash it concerning the Cowboys and Dak's optimism. But I really can't think of a good one because I've for the first time in a long time, you know, several years, I can't put a finger on it. I really am just like, I have
You have no. There is no expectation.
I have
Yeah.
no expectation.
Same. I'm with you.
Like I don't expect them to be as bad as they were this year because just I hopefully Dak Prescott just plays the whole season. If he plays the whole season, they're gonna at least be a middle of the pack team.
Mm-hmm.
But I have zero hope that the things that need to be done will be done to make them the, you know, even rival at all the Eagles.
How many
Yeah.
games do they win? How many games did the Cowboys
If Dak
win?
Prescott plays all year, they're going to win 9 games. And that's maybe good enough for a wild card, but then I would have no expectation of them doing anything after that. But the thing is, I also agree with that completely that they are close. I think they are. I think there's some key holes that could be fixed and that would make them a lot better. But I don't have any like glimmer of hope that those things are going to happen.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to go to break. Who's real happy about this coming season is Moy, who loves your call on the Bills to the Super Bowl, is them and VIP tailgating because the Mahomes train and the Chiefs are a home game. That will be a tailgate. That will be
huge.
fantastic. So
Maybe we should get tickets for that.
there we go. We need to work on that. When we come back, Misty's bag. Mulligan's will hear about the brunch. Be back right after this.
Sorry, y'all. I got like super lightheaded. I thought I was gonna throw up. Like I just literally.
I was worried about you. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, so last night, whenever Clay and I both had a headache last night, and like didn't have anything to drink, like just wasn't really feeling great. This morning, woke up feeling okay, and then literally as I was sitting here, I was like, am I about to throw up? I just got like super lightheaded. And
Well,
so sorry. And then I didn't have my phone, so I couldn't text. I was trying to text y'all on my watch, like, I'm okay, but give me a minute. But yeah,
Well,
I feel better now. I think I just needed to like just kind of take a breath. But
we pieced out last night, like as soon as it was like, you're dismissed, we were right out the door, because while we were sitting there, Lynn kind of had like a sneezing attack, and then was like super stopped up and like couldn't breathe, you know, just
Clay
like,
had a coughing fit last night too.
just, it's because we're going from cold front to warm front, and it always jacks with your.
And I feel like I'm dehydrated probably. I know I haven't drank
You need water?
No, I'm feel better now, but yeah, for a second I was like, oh my gosh, am I
Need a
about to throw up?
transfusion?
Yeah, I was like, I need an IV bag, like some, but that's what
Why
it,
y'all have those at the mall?
Yeah. But it felt like for a second, yeah, I was like, oh, but I think that's what it is. I probably just need to make sure I get my water, because I don't think I've done a good job of that this week for sure.
Do you feel like this new job has you going more than the other one?
No, it's not the same level, but the last couple of weeks have been a little bit busier because we've been working on more, like we had the kickoff this week for the nonprofits for Abilene Gives. And so there was a little bit more going on. But more going on the training side. Like I still feel like I'm definitely getting there, but it's still that feeling of, you know, when you don't know everything and you're trying to learn your new job, you're kind of drinking from the fire hose, and every day is a different day. It's that way, but it's not super, you know, stressful or anything in that regard.
Did you do brunch?
Mm-hmm.
Was it good?
It was so good. Like so good.
Do they know how often they're going to do it?
I think maybe once a month. Yeah, I think once a month.
Anyway. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Talk and everything in between as we get ready to wrap up hour number one. Of course, it's time for Misty's bag, where we get a little nervous, get a little excited, all the things. Let's see what happens next.
All right, so we're not on yet. Speaking of mulligans, y'all know that I was teasing this for a couple of weeks, but it's out, it's public. They are starting brunch, and it started last week, and I attended, and it was so good. And I'm not just saying this, everybody knows. I love the Kings. I love their family. They're some of our best friends. But it was so good. And I don't know that I was like surprised, because they have really great food. Like, I honestly have a hard time ordering because everything is good. And I'm like, ooh, what am I feeling tonight? But it was so good. They had a classic breakfast, chicken and waffles, a burrito, you know, with like a fruit cup, and with the tater kegs. That was the game changer on the burrito. Clay got that and said that it was absolutely fantastic. I actually had a bite also, tried the chicken and waffles as well. But I ordered the classic, which came with tater kegs, French toast, fruit, eggs the way that you want it, and bacon. And I had no complaints, like so delicious. And my only complaint is that they're not going to have it again this weekend. But I think they're going to do it maybe once a month, something like that. But it was very, very good. So I would recommend it to anybody and everybody to definitely give them a shot. It did feel weird, like eating brunchy type foods there, just because, again, I'm usually, you know, eating chicken strips or steak fingers or, you know, or sandwich or something. So it was really cool, very fun. They had a great turnout. I mean, the dining room was full the entire time we were there. And so I think they'll be adjusting maybe the hours. I think they'll go earlier, a little later or something. I think they're still working out a couple of things like that. Menu, I think the menu might change from month to month, but as far as I know, unless something changes, I think it's going to be once a month right now. So y'all definitely got to go the next time that they have it. Okay.
I will try to do that.
Yes, we should all go.
Well, last week we talked about it. We got basketball on Saturday mornings. But tomorrow's our last Saturday of basketball for this year, so we'll have a little bit of a layover before we start baseball. Not much, but maybe I'll fit in my window.
Yeah, well, as soon as Collins played last week, she played at 11, and so I was like, okay, as soon as she's done, we have to go straight to brunch, and that's what we did. But yeah, it was great. Kudos to their entire staff. They really, really pulled it off, and it was really well executed. So, okay, we're going to talk about Valentine's Day, shockingly. So, I want to know how you would celebrate Valentine's Day with your wife on a $10 budget.
$10.
Like, you have to plan something special for your wives, but you only have $10. What are you going to do?
Well, my wife is a fan of the Nerd Clusters candy.
Those are really good.
They get stuck in my teeth.
Yeah.
But I like them.
So I would get, I don't know how much a bag of those are.
$2.
Yeah,
Right, so
$2.
those $2.
They're actually on sale right now at the Allsup's that I stopped at. I saw them on the they were 2 for $4. So that's $2
Oh.
a piece.
Well,
Double the love there.
sounds like I know where I'm going after the show.
Yeah, they're sitting right there at the counter.
Nerd Clusters,
Okay.
a vanilla Coke from, like Mr. Burger or something like that.
Okay, so fountain.
Fountain.
That's going to run you like a couple bucks.
No, I'm going to buy
right?
it during happy hour.
Okay, $1.
No.
Ish.
$1.50.
So I'm at $3.50.
You're at $3.50.
$3.50. I can find a card for $1.
Okay.
So I'm at $4.50. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Dollar card, yes.
$4.50.
Why don't you just draw it yourself on some computer paper?
Oh, honestly, y'all, that's so cute. Do that. She'll love that.
And then, actually, I'll take
When
that back.
you draw the card, can I see it?
Yeah. And then, actually, I will take that back. I'm going to make a bunch of hearts because the candy hearts with the wording on them, I will draw those hearts, write a different saying for each one, and make my own candy hearts that you can eat that I draw.
Very sweet.
And then,
The mental image I have of you like doing the crafts is like
Me too. They're all like
really
jagged.
cracking
The
me up.
hearts are jagged, but we still love them. It's okay.
possibly eating a crayon. And then I got about $5 left.
You got like
I better let
$5.
Josh go.
I mean,
$5.
what are y'all gonna eat for supper? I learned I gotta call it
Well,
supper, I
No,
guess.
it's only if you're a redneck. I thought you were.
Hey, so
You sold me up the river.
the fact that you are not a supper person blew my mind.
I say dinner. I don't know.
So, well, I mean, sophisticated people can probably do that.
I was probably the only one.
So with $5, Tracy is a easy. I mean, we could get a kids meal at Mulligan's. Mac and cheese. We'll split mac and cheese and fries.
Okay.
We'll have to drink water because I spit it on the others.
Because you have no money.
Yeah.
No money. $10. Trying to think if I could pull this off because it would be a very tight budget if I have a recipe that I made up for Alfredo sauce, and Leanne really likes the fettuccine Alfredo. I think if I was very, 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 very light on the chicken, one chicken breast, I could pull it off cooking that for because some noodles, chicken.
Yeah, you can get the noodles for like $1.
Yeah, so I think I could make that for the dinner. But then, I don't have much of a budget left for anything else. And my arts and crafts are probably worse than Hodge's. So,
well, you can get Barrett. Barrett does that.
I could get Barrett.
So Moy says he's got your meal, fried spam, but you already got that. He says, write a note and free hugs and kisses. So you could, with the rest
Oh,
of your
yeah,
health.
yeah, that's all. That,
Yeah.
maybe a little check yes or no,
Yeah.
that would work.
And if you cut the chicken and just did fettuccine, you could like buy a card maybe,
Yeah,
or a little.
Hey,
And maybe
Josh,
like a
let's-
bottle of Boone's Farm wine, that
All
would go
right,
on.
hey, we're gonna pause for station identification to let Josh think about what he's gonna do with that other $3. Where were those nerds again?
Also on Clark Road. So that's like twice a week stop. And I bought various clusters and sweet tart ropes.
All right, so Josh has got some fettuccine, possibly chicken Alfredo, maybe just Alfredo. Misty has put us on a $10 date.
Yeah,
like we're back
I don't
in
know.
college.
I mean, do y'all remember, like,
chicken costs money.
When you first started dating your wife, like y'all, none of us had any money. I mean, it's like back in the day, and this is $10. I mean, what if I put you on $5? Like there were times where we didn't even have that.
Also, that long ago, you could go to your local fast food place and get a meal for $3.99, and now it's $12.99. So
Yeah, the dollar menu existed. Now it's $1.79 menu, $1.49 menu. Yeah.
Taco Bueno, I just thought about that. That has always been one of my favorite places. I really have always enjoyed their bean and cheese burritos with that sauce that they have on it. Puts it over the top. For me, I've always.
Ironically, Tracy gets 2 party burritos, no chili sauce.
Yeah, well, that's simple. But anyway, I went there the other day because just
Timing.
the way the day fell, and Taco Bueno was not far from my office, and I just needed to hurry, so I was like, I'm gonna run to Taco Bueno. And I went in there, and they had this like meal deal that was, pick 3 for $6. And I was looking at that, and I was like, I used to buy a burrito for 79 cents, and now it's like, I mean, that averages to $2. If you order it separately, it was like $2.49. And I was like, what is going on in this world? But so anyway, that was a very, very sidetrack. I can't buy a burrito
Things are more expensive
on my $10 budget. So yeah, we'll go low protein fettuccine Alfredo, and then for gonna have to really scrimp on the beverage.
Yeah, Boone, like you said, maybe
like
Boone's
whatever the lowest,
barefoot wine.
the lowest end wine that you walk into the store.
You just need to hope something's already in the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
All right, I'm really curious.
We could have a picnic, but it's cold outside.
And I think he's still listening and hadn't started selling equipment yet. So what are you doing with Clay for $10?
I think for Clay, I feel like we could go to like Taco Bell. We're gonna hit up the drive-through, I think, somewhere. We're gonna go to Taco Bell. They have those like cravings boxes, and I feel like there's a good amount of food in there.
The problem is that I want to be able to pick what's in my box.
Well,
You're too picky.
yes, and we're not picky. Clay and I aren't really picky people, so I think that we would share a like $7 cravings box, because now they're not all $5. Like we would have to go up a little bit to like actually be able to share, like, he gets a taco, I get a taco, everybody gets a taco. And then I would probably have to go to a convenience store, but see, I can't afford beef jerky. Clay really likes beef jerky, but that's so expensive.
like
That would take my
$10 by itself.
I know. So
Maybe just buy him one Slim Jim.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And snap into it.
Or like he likes Funyuns, or like hot Funyuns, or like hot Cheetos and stuff like that. Probably hot Funyuns. I'll take him to Taco Bell, and then I'll get him some hot Funyuns and maybe a 40. Like if that, how much are those?
I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know. I may have already run out of money.
I did see the advertisement also. I'm not paid to sponsor Allsup's, but they do have singles for $2.
See,
so,
also, we could go to Allsup's and get 2 burritos. Actually, he could get 2 burritos. I can get 1. We could get a fountain drink to split. I mean, Ossops may be the go-to
Yeah.
on the $10 Valentine's Day date.
Well, there you go. You're in luck. We have helped you out. If you have $10 today and you're listening, what am I doing for my date tonight? You've got options. You've got nerd ropes, nerd clusters, fettuccine alfredo,
And arts and crafts.
arts and crafts, and it'll be fantastic. Again, that is Missy's Bag, brought to you by Mulligan's. When we come back, what now? Football's over.
Y'all really should make your wives something though. Y'all
It would
should,
be funny.
honestly, y'all really should, like, I don't know if they're listening, but that would be cute if y'all did like hearts and then wrote little things on them. If you really want to win her over, hide them throughout the house. And she just like randomly finds them. That would be fun. I'm out.
You're out?
Yeah. And I'm trying not to vomit.
8:06. Well, get well.
I just, yeah, that was
Hopefully you're
weird.
not actually sick, because I don't want to get sick from
No,
sickness.
I think that I just,
My
honestly,
mouth sounds all stuffed up. My
I
right
think
side
I'm
of the
just
face is like,
dehydrated.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I honestly think it is. I'm just worn down this week and dehydrated. But
Well, I hope it gets better.
yes, all right, y'all. See y'all.
Oh, so yeah, I did open that. I couldn't remember if I did. Hope she doesn't go down.
I know. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do tonight. Outside of Bregman, who do you think are the top free agent signings? And I guess you'll know what all the Rangers have
Juan
done.
Soto going to the Mets. That was the biggest.
Verlander went to the
Giants. But the Dodgers got Blake Snell and Roki Sasaki.
Good morning, and it is Biscuits and Gravy are fantastic, and they are one of my favorite food items of all time. We are rocking and rolling our 8 o'clock hour. Hodge and Josh, Misty had to head off and get ready for her Valentine's festivities she has today, and probably going to swing through. I guess she can't get her $7 box thing yet. It's not lunchtime. But again, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? What are you doing tonight? Playoff basketball is happening. We're going to make this we're going to make this our Big Country Electric My Town segment. Playoff basketball is happening across the state as girls basketball is in the area of teams that are playing now. Of course, the Gym Ned, Josh, where his kids go. Gym Ned has Comanche tonight in Coleman at 6 o'clock. That should be a tough game. Jim Ned, obviously one of the top teams in the state. And so they'll be taking on Comanche tonight. Lonnie Hermley and Hamlin. Congratulations to Hamlin. I'm not sure when the last time the Hamlin girls made the basketball playoff, but they'll be playing Hermley and Snyder at the Coliseum there tonight. A few games that happened last night in our listening area. Ashvermont over Gordon, exciting 43-42 win. The Lady Hornets move on. Haskell upset or lost to Crawford 34-28. The Roscoe Plow girls win 59-39 over Smyer. And then Eula, of course, Coach Fostel and his kiddos were on the show a couple weeks ago. They beat Monday last night on a Thursday, 73-23, and they will play Garden City in the next round. There's no more regional quarterfinals, which is weird. They've changed, Josh, when you and I were growing up all the times, and then my coaching days, there was always by district area regional quarterfinals, then there was the regional tournament. The regional tournaments no longer exist. You just play all the way to like football, and there's just state championships now. So in this, and we'll transition into what now, which is also our Black Flame social media question. What do we do now that football's over? The realization, and you talked about it, that we're in girls' second round playoff. The bye district for the boys will start next week. It reminds you how fast a school year, how fast a season goes, because I do believe in my coaching days and just life days, the spring semester is so much more busy because you have football, cross country, volleyball, then you roll into basketball, and that's it. And then you get into the spring semester, it's powerlifting, basketball's ending up, and then all the spring sports start, football, baseball, softball, tennis, track, golf, all of it. It is a very busy time. We talk about sports craziness, not with football going on, but right now from a collegiate, from a high school perspective, now may be the busiest time of things actually happening.
Oh, very, very much so. And that second semester, especially when you're dealing with smaller schools, is where you have kids that are taking part in multiple events all at the same time. They're shuffling from track meets to ball games to to tennis tournaments, golf tournaments, all the other things. So it's very busy. There's a lot going on. Basketball season, it's kind of districts rolled to an end, and we're into the playoffs, and so that's exciting for all of those girls that are in I guess it is the second round now, and boys that are starting the first round. So lots of big times for the local athletes.
Well, and you start thinking about realization if you are that senior that, like last night I went over to Stanford to watch my buddy Coach Barnett and his Loboettes play. And, at the end of the year, after that game, unfortunately they lost. You see the tears strolling down the face because either their last game of the year, last game of their career as a high school player, and you start realizing the realization for parents, the realization for kids, that this senior year is coming to an end. And I look at a guy like Coach Fostel, who's coaching his twin senior daughters, knowing that at any moment their basketball career, playing for their dad, playing for Beulah, will end either before the Alamo Dome or in the Alamo Dome. And so it's exciting. Playoff basketball is fun if you get two good games, two good teams playing against each other. Unfortunately, Kahoma, I don't know if you saw, they played Tornillo. They won 78-0. Yeah, and so
I saw some blowouts in the first round. I missed that one.
But 78-0, and again, I joked last night. I mean, that's an official. Somebody call fouls, get them to the free throw line,
Yeah,
do
definitely.
something.
Get them off the egg.
But anyway, so basketball's happening, playoffs. I will tell you, if everything works out, you're going to want to find a way next, probably Thursday or Friday. Jayton and Gordon are going to play each other the way it falls, the way the cookie crumbles, if you will, on the playoff bracket. They will play each other in the area round. It will probably be for the state championship. Jayton coming off defending state championship in basketball, just won in football. Gordon just won in football. They're second in a row. And now they're going to have to play each other. Gordon lost in the state tournament to Benjamin last year. But now Jayton and Gordon are going to have to play each other in round 2 because of the way the seeding is, because of the way the bracket is. You're going to want to be there next. If you can find it, it will be a fantastic game. Gordon's actually playing Hermley on Monday. If Hermley can upset Gordon, it will allow Gordon and Jayton to play. I enjoy high school playoff basketball.
Oh, yeah, it's exciting. Playoff basketball is just exciting. That's why we get pumped up. Next month we'll have March Madness, and everyone will be, filling out brackets and taking part of all that, and hoping for the buzzer beaters, and just the things that go with it.
Well, and you got communities, and that's one of the things that I think, in kind of talking about what's next and all that, but continuing, again, our Big Country Electric 9-10 segment, talking about playoff basketball, again, Roby, Snyder, and Stanford, the co-op at Big Country, taking care of their members all the time, is you don't ever need to take for granted being in situations where playoffs happen. You're in a school right now, you got boys and girls both making it.
Mm-hmm.
Had a decent little football run. You've got schools like Eula that go on these runs. Hermley, we've seen them on these runs. But there's schools out there that this may be the year they're in. Hamlin, they're in the year, it's been a while, they're going to try to keep going. Is to not ever take for granted being a part of teams that are doing just that.
I agree with you completely. We've talked about it a lot, just in general. It's from little kid, little league, pee-wee, all the way up to the professionals. Like, success breeds success, and so sometimes when you're on the outside of that, it's hard to flip that switch and be on the success side. And when you see that, and I do have, got my qualms with the 4 teams in the playoffs thing. I think that sometimes you end up with 78-0 scores, but there are those situations where that's that little spark, that gets the community together and goes out there and has a good time, and no one, I think, ever really is upset about playing one more game.
Oh, no, not at all.
Just, and no one wants their season to end, especially seniors. I've kind of thought about this with Molly. Tomorrow we're having the end of season tournament for our Gym Ned basketball league. So Molly's in the 6th grade, so this will be the last year that she plays in this league. And next year she'll go to middle school, play 7th grade basketball, or give it a whirl if she wants to, I guess. But I kind of had this thought that, barring some sort of different outcome than I foresee, tomorrow will be the last time that I coach Molly in a sport.
Right, unless you do some travel ball and
Right.
you coach it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because that is that realization of that is true.
Yeah, and I've started coaching her when she was 5 years old.
Well, and you start looking at it, and again, we had the little Super Bowl gathering at your house, and Molly is the oldest of the kids, and she's getting to the point where she's got a phone. And so next year she's going to be trying out for teams where it matters. Not that tomorrow doesn't matter, but it's a different.
Oh, but we have that conversation.
Each year it's different.
As a coach, when you're coaching these little league teams and pee-wee little dribblers and all the different things, you're wanting your kids to get better, and even though I do think winning is the best way to have fun, you want to make sure everybody has fun, and you have playing time rules. Everyone has to get a certain amount of playing time, and sometimes there's kids that are kind of a detriment to your team when you have to get them their playing time. That's a thing. But I've talked to Molly about that because, she's been frustrated at times, with things like that. And I was like, here's the deal, next year, like, no one's guaranteed any playing time. Like in seventh grade, you might not make the team, and you might make the team, and your tail might sit at the very back end of the bench the whole time.
In each year, especially, she's at the position, I've got friends of mine that their kids at Wiley and they're on the B team, and they're on whatever team you want to call it. And each year, more kids moving to gym net, each kid's moving to Wiley, each kid's moving to a different deal. Your chance of that playing time going down, if you don't put the work in, goes up. And because it becomes more competitive, and it's going to be that. And where she's at, we've seen it, the success of Coach Cooley and the gym net Lady Indians. It's a very respectable program, not in the big country, across the state. Each year trying to get back to the Alamo Dome to win a state championship, and that's the reality.
Yeah, and they've been right on the verge the past few years and not been able to get through regionals, and we'll try to cheer them on again this year. But it is like that success breeds that success. But at the same time, the more, that's just the way that it goes when you have. I've always been a funny thing, with high school sports, because there's times that there's certain teams, whether it be a baseball team, football, basketball, whatever sport it is, that there's quality athletes that aren't participating, people that would probably be a difference maker on your team, but the team hasn't had the type of success that made them even want to keep playing.
Right.
And
I'm glad we did this. It was a great Big Country Electric Mountain segment to talk about these athletes that are playing. When we come back, we'll do what do we do now. We'll read some of those answers that you've given. We'll talk Major League Baseball as well. We'll do our first Bacon Trust Texas Ranger Major League Baseball report. Be on the lookout. Find where games are going to be. The great thing about being in Abilene, we're right in the middle. A lot of places.
A lot of playoff games come here.
Yeah, a lot of playoff games. There's a chance Aaliyah Chavez and Argyle can meet each other up here in the Big Country. So be sure you check those out. And again, we appreciate Big Country Electric Co-op and all that they do. When we come back, what do we do now? What is Josh and I's playing? What is the Hodge Pack playing? What are we doing now that football is over? We'll answer that question right after this. Yeah, if I don't get a game to officiate Monday, my plan is to go to watch Gordon and Hurley. I've seen Gordon play basketball and football. It's fantastic. That's good. Yeah. How much better are you than the 6'5" kid?
just walked by. I was like, wanted to say, what you got in that bag? Did you see his backpack? He had a backpack on that, you know, like, looked like it was absolutely stuffed full. Like it was like,
What's up, Coach Freeman?
this is this,
Huh?
put weight in his backpack to walk tomorrow, maybe. I don't know.
But maybe, don't know if I have enough time. The Hodge Pack rocking and rolling in the 8 o'clock hour. Couple things that we mentioned. Josh again tomorrow night, the singer-songwriter contest for Outlaws and Legends. Josh will be competing in that along with some other folks. Round 1 winner Matt Austin, round 2 winner Ty Smith and Daniel Johnson. And so Josh tomorrow night, 7 to 10.
So, yeah, 7 to 11, 7 to 10. I don't know. I guess it depends how many people are there.
Yeah, and so that's tomorrow night at Hef's in the Mall of Abilene. So opportunity winner will advance to the finals, which will be February 22nd, and a chance to win. And the winner will get to open up at Outlaws and Legends, of course, March 21st, 22nd, out at the back porch. So be sure you get your tickets for that and show up tomorrow night and hang out to support Josh and great folks that write songs. That's the thing. It's not. I've always thought you needed to sing a cover or two, but they don't do that, so nobody asked me. But folks will be singing original songs tomorrow night. It'll be good stuff.
Yep, looking forward to it.
So we talked about what's next. And again, our Black Plumbing social media question, of course, give them a call, 325-675-8391. The eyes are still, had to lean in and get that, make sure that 5 was a 5.
Need some glasses?
I'm getting there.
I need to wear my glasses more often.
Yeah, it is true.
It's a pride thing. I just don't put them on.
It's kind of like Aaron Rodgers. I'm waiting.
Yeah, and Evan Harris said they look like Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, and so now I'm probably never going to wear them again.
And, well, I mean, it could be worse. He could have said,
Thank you.
I mean, he did strike somebody out to win the World Series or win the pennant for the Indians.
You're right. So it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. So, but give Black Plumbing Heating and Air a call if you need any plumbing or heating and air issues. Again, 675-8391, and let that truck be rolling to you. So we talked about our Black Plumbing social media question was, what's next? Football's over. Matt Bell says football's never really over because it goes to the offseason. Free agents start happening. Who goes where? Aaron Rodgers is going to be one of those. Will the Browns trade Myles Garrett? I don't see them doing that. T. Higgins. So there is a lot of free agent stuff. Again, the draft is going to be at Green Bay this year. Cool spot for that. Hopefully the weather is fine in April. The coaching selections have been all filled. The final one was Kellen Moore to the Saints. And so some of the people that posted, Derek Hood, which makes sense, he put track and field because I asked, what would you like to see us cover? And he put track and field. Of course, his dad's a legendary track coach at ACU, Hall of Fame track coach at ACU, national champion coach at ACU. Track and field, I've got a friend of mine who's actually, he was one of my elementary PE kids. I know his family well. He's someone we could cover. Gunnar Helm is competing really well at Hardin Simmons track right now. So track may be something, our Big Country Electric My-Town segments, look at
It's worth,
track
worth a look. I've always enjoyed track and field, and obviously I'm not made for the track part of it, but it's, I mean, you get to see pure athleticism in all of that, whether it's throwing the shot in the disc or running distances that I would
Right.
not wish on my
Well,
worst enemy.
and I agree with Derek, Coach Hood. Derek Hood, he's kind of like me, coach that got into another industry. But track, there are some people out there that love it. There are some that are going to go to the state track meet every year.
Mm-hmm.
There's some that are going to go to the regional track meet or area track meets at AC. They're going to go watch, and it is fun. If you got a nice day, sunscreen and all that, no wind. I mean, track's such a tough deal, but if you go watch people go compete in those things, it is a lot of fun to watch a track meet and watch those kids compete because it is different than anything else. You see kids that like to run, that are good at running. The Lily Benson girl from Roby that we've had, they're a rarity.
Yes, and I've always remembered fondly my days of doing track through shot and disc, and it was like you go out there and you do your thing, and then you just wait for the bus to take you home for a long time. Sometimes a little boring.
Well, I was a distance runner. I know I don't look it now, but I ran the mile and 2 mile, and then ironically, I got my letter. If you had to score so many points to the letter in track, they did just give you one. I actually got my points in the 800. Now, the second time, the first time I ran the 800, I was kicking everybody's tail, and then I had a second lap, and then things went south. Yeah, and so track is good. Another one that somebody posted was Texas Tech basketball. And that makes a lot of sense. College basketball right now, as we transition away from the national championship, which Ohio State won, and they just paid Ryan Day a ton of money. And then moving into college basketball. Right now, it is a very competitive Big 12, very competitive SEC right now. And tomorrow, one of the best games in the country is Auburn versus Alabama, who is going to see will be the new number one come the next day they do the poll.
College basketball is very exciting right now, and Texas Tech is playing well. Although that Arizona State scare, at home, that was one of those games that I couldn't stay up that late. I don't know why it started that late. But
well, I think they were out west.
No, it was in.
Oh, wow!
That's why I was shocked that it was that late. But I guess the TV time slot, you had to make it fit. But yes, my family, we went up to Lubbock last week and watched Tech beat Baylor. It was an exciting atmosphere. Tech has the potential to make a solid run. But the thing is, and you mentioned it, the SEC, the Big 12, you turn on your TV, Monday, Tuesday, and sometimes Wednesday nights, and those games are on, and then obviously on Saturday. It almost doesn't matter what those matchups are in those conferences. They're so good and so competitive.
And you mentioned it, West Tech beating Arizona State 111 to 106 in double overtime. That is unbelievable. The amount of points scored in that game.
And that was, like I said, I was watching that game at first, but it started late, and Tech was up by, 14 points or something like that. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to bed, and then the next day I looked at the score and well, glad I went to bed, because if I would have started watching that, I would have stayed up till midnight, and then I would have been regretting it the next day.
But you look right now in the top rankings, Auburn's number 1, Alabama's number 2. They play tomorrow. Duke, Florida, Tennessee, Houston, Purdue, Texas A&M, St. John's. I bring up St. John's. They're ranked number 9 right now. Rick Pitino's coaching there. So college basketball is going to start getting a lot of attention. College game day has begun on ESPN, so it's kind of a big deal. So college basketball is something that we'll be looking at over the next few weeks. We'll lead into March Madness. We'll have a bracket challenge, all those things. It'll be good stuff. The other is you've got golf that's happening. Tiger Woods' mom passing away last week. Big impact in his life. He actually decided to not play in the Genesis Invitational, which is his tournament. normally played there in the Palisades there in LA, moved it to Torrey Pines because of the fire. They're back out there at Torrey Pines. Actually leading that tournament today is Dean McCarthy, -4, Scotty Shuffler, -2. Waste Management last week, Thomas Gentry dominated that last week in Super Bowl Sunday, winning that. So, Josh, I ask you, what now? What is your attention focused to now that we are post NFL? We'll obviously have free agency. We'll be curious what the Cowboys do draft wise, all that. But what is your what now? And I know we got baseball at the next segment.
Well, yeah, so that is my what now. I mean, college basketball, and just paying attention to all the spring training stuff with pitchers and catchers reported. Monday is the official first day of spring training, and now it's just all the thing is, and it's like when you're building into the NFL season every year, and you're looking at whether it's your high school team or college or pro. This is the time of year that you're excited about what's coming for that, and for the next month and a half, everybody's going to be in first place, and then you love spring training to like, where's that breakout going to be from this guy, and all of that. So that occupies a lot of my time during February. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. I'm going to watch some basketball. Slow down a little bit for a little while with our kids basketball season ending tomorrow. It'll be till after spring break before baseball games start, so we'll have a little bit of, we'll have baseball practice, but not as busy as basketball season's been. So it's going to allow me to have some more time, maybe on Saturdays, accomplish something other than just, basketball.
Well, and for me, it will be, I always say my favorite time of the year is transitioning from March Madness into Augusta, into the Masters. But I do think over the next few weeks, it will be that. It will be paying attention to trying to watch a little more college basketball, so my bracket's not terrible. There are some really good games, and just we mentioned about the playoff games in high school. Tomorrow, that Auburn-Alabama game, you've got two rivals that are they're rivals anyway, but when you think of that, you think of the Iron Bowl between Auburn and Alabama on the gridiron. It's now happening on the hardwood. You got two great coaches, two great programs that are making waves, if you will, and honestly probably putting pressure back on the football programs with Hugh Freeze and Caleb DeBoer. Hey, we're doing it over here, you better do it there. And so starting to see that, it will be fun trying to go catch, of course we had them on, they had their Bison Bash last week, they got the rings out. The Bison will be back out on playing later in May, so we'll be having that stuff coming up. But, and I like going to watch college baseball, whether it's McMurray or ACU, in high school baseball, because one of the things, and I love golf, but one of the coolest sounds still is that ping off of aluminum bat.
Yeah, the metal bat ping is
very,
very distinctive.
Yeah.
It's something that, you're right, it has, there's a flair to it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned SEC basketball, and they've always had teams that have made runs before and been serious in the tournament.
But it's normally Kentucky or Florida.
Kentucky or Florida. You don't generally think of the SEC as basketball powerhouses. They've always obviously been good at football. Their baseball is a step above pretty much everybody else. And now they're flexing the muscle in basketball too. And I'm not sure what necessarily led to that. But you mentioned St. John's being ranked number 9. But back in the day, it seemed like we had a lot of just basketball schools that were always dominating the tournament and the top 25, and those people have kind of, for the most part, fallen behind just your traditional powerhouse football schools.
And your two-time defending national champions, Connecticut, not even ranked.
Right.
But it was Duke, it was North Carolina, the occasional Michigan. Those were your powerhouses, and then in the Kansas.
Right.
And in the SEC, it was Kentucky, Florida. But like right now, you've got 9 top 25 teams in the SEC from all over. And that's not even counting A&M, who's been battling. Texas is not very good. But when you thought of SEC basketball, you thought more of the women's side because you had South Carolina, LSU, and all that. So great stuff. What now? College basketball, high school basketball, spring sports, golf, track, all the things. That's where the attention will go. But pitchers and catchers, it is now time when we come back. Baseball is coming. Josh mentioned it. Goes from basketball to baseball. Your kids are going from basketball sneakers to cleats, and so is the major leagues as they get ready to kick off and start moving toward season 2025 season out in Arizona, out in Florida. And we'll have our first Bank and Trust Texas Ranger MLB report for 2025 right after this. That actually was pretty good. So they haven't given you much instructions except show up at 7?
Check in at 6:30. Like,
I saw one deal, one post where they started showing the time slot, but Greg also said 1 to 9.
I had seen it myself. It didn't say it. Sign up at 6:30, bring your card and cable, and check in with Greg Austin and JB Cloud. So.
Looks like they got their first game next Friday, the Rangers and Royals.
Yeah. 21st. Paid my $100 to get the baseball app.
You did?
Yeah.
App or like just service or whatever you're gonna call it?
Well, I mean, it's the Victory Plus.
Watch it on your phone or watch it anywhere?
Yeah.
And you just download it on your smart
Got the
TV?
app on Roku. It's on there. I don't know if that was necessary, because it still should be on my D stream, but, but D stream is very limited with how many screens I can have going at the same time. And I sometimes get hampered by that. It's a lot of all-overs today. How much time do we have?
One more commercial. We will be clearing the bases before you know it. Major League Baseball, Little League, college baseball, the Flying Bison, everything in between, clearing bases before we know it. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. Don't forget to download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. If you missed anything, maybe you need some Valentine advice, you're going to want to do that with $10, and we can do that. We can let you know how to get that taken care of.
We got it handled. Hodge has all the crafts.
Oh yeah, arts and crafts will be doing that
Do you have
today.
a hot glue gun by chance?
Probably just use a glue stick. or something.
Glue stick?
Yeah.
That's safer.
Oh yeah. No.
Don't have to worry about burning yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. And so a couple of things, again, don't forget, tomorrow night, have singer-songwriter Josh will be there. Also, Brack Jones, former guest, he's been on the show in a picker. So Brack will be on as well. I bet he sings Ode to Tom. But anyway, tomorrow night, 7 to 11, out at Hef's, come support. Couple of things we talked about. We're going to get into our First Bank and Trust Texas Ranger MLB report. One of our headlines that we didn't get to and what next is what will happen post Luka trade. Since Luka and the Mavs traded Luka to LA, the Lakers are 5-1 since the trade, but Luka's only played in 2 games and he's 1-1 since. The Mavs are 4-3. It'll be interesting to see how all that culminates at the end of that trade, who has the better season and all that. So Mavs had a big win against the Golden State Warriors the other night. So what's next? What do we do now? NBA will be a little bit to see how that trade plays out. But it is time for our First Bank and Trust Texas Ranger report, MLB report. And kind of looking, Josh, we've seen some free agencies. It wasn't a very active free agency world. At least I don't think. It seemed like the rich got richer in LA with the Dodgers. The Mets, I think, who a lot of people thought the Yankees would get the guy that went there. And then finally, Houston's, we mentioned dynasty, is the thing in Houston starting to change. Of course, the Texas Rangers, Max Scherzer is gone, went to Toronto. Verlander went to San Francisco. Talk a little bit before we get to the Rangers, just what free agency done and how the teams have gotten better, worse, as we get into 25.
Oh yes, baseball's off season. You talk about football never really ending. The way that they handle the off season in football kind of leads to more excitement than baseball, because baseball is more of a trickle, less of a fountain of a flurry of signings. It's a trickle, and like Alex Bregman just signed with the Red Sox yesterday, which turns around the White Sox or the Red Sox a little bit, gives them that right-handed bat that they needed and makes them a legit contender, because Bregman is a good player. But then that
What's
also
the effect of Houston?
that's what I was going to say. The other outcome is, Houston was still in on them, still always in that conversation. Any rumors that you read, and me personally, I wanted him to leave Houston. I don't like the Astros, and I obviously want the Rangers to have a better opportunity. And Bregman being gone makes Houston worse. There's not really a way around that. But to add insult to injury, I guess, if you're the Astros, they traded away Kyle Tucker. Also, they got some good return for him, but I don't think they got anyone that's near the player that he is, because Tucker was a legitimate, all-star, good defender, a well above average hitter, and they're not going to be able to replace that in the lineup this year. So the Astros have taken a step back. The whole world knows the Dodgers are good. Speaking of step back, the Kirby Yates had a great season for the Rangers last year. One of the few bright spots really was the back end of our bullpen, which is funny when our team, when we watched the World Series run, the back end of the bullpen was suspect. The year that kind of the wheels came off, the back end of the bullpen with Robertson and Yates was nails. But now Yates joins the Dodgers along with Blake Snell and Roki Sasaki, who is the big Japanese free agent that was coming over. So you mentioned it, the rich get richer. The Dodgers, it's almost embarrassing. They had Blake Tryon, who was their closer last year, that won the World Series. They re-signed him. They add Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates to the bullpen, so that their bullpen looks amazing. Their rotation very strong, with the notion that Ohtani will be pitching again this year. He started throwing in spring training.
So we look to see Ohtani being the dual threat that we've seen, and really that they paid the $700 million for.
Yes, he was otherworldly in the batter's box last year, but that was the only thing that he could do. Couldn't play in the field and couldn't pitch. But now he's back to, and we'll see. He is just a most incredible talent. But if there's one kind of like kink, he has had a difficulty staying healthy, which we see that a lot. I mean, obviously Jacob deGrom's the best pitcher in baseball when he's pitching, but when he's hurt for a long time.
But the Dodgers to me, remind me of what the Yankees did back in the day when Steinbrenner had an open checkbook.
Yes.
That to me is the Dodgers have become that spot that we feel like if we go there, whether it's we play with Ohtani, we play with Mookie Betts, we play for Dave Roberts. If we go out there, that is the destination, kind of like the Chiefs up until last weekend, was the best place to win a ring.
Right, and they have become that. Just, you're right. It's exactly like how the Yankees used to be when people that have been, and they're not has-beens necessarily, but have been stars on other teams, are willing to take secondary roles, to go play with the Dodgers. And I think Kirby Yates is a prime example of that. He was a very good closer, all-star closer for the Rangers last year. This year, and I guess there might be a competition for who the closer is in LA, but it doesn't. He doesn't just have that automatically locked down. But so he was maybe willing to take a lesser role to go to a team that gave the best chance. No doubt about it, best chance to win a ring. The Mets, they ended up winning out on the Soto deal. Then they were able to keep Alonso, which was kind of up in the air whenever Pete Alonso was a free agent. They signed big money to Soto. Then they were still able to keep Alonso. So I think that the Mets are also spending giant money, and that's we talk about franchises and we talk about fans. The Mets have got to be in that boat of when is it our turn? Right. They had 2 years ago. They made that big run at the end, got into the playoffs, made some noise. But to me, that's a fan base that's like, when is it going to be our time? And if you're the Yankees across the subway, and you look at the Red Sox getting Bregman, now how much even more is the pressure on Aaron Boone to figure out a way to get it done? There's obviously always pressure for the Yankees.
They are the Cowboys.
Yes, there's never an okay, we're going to rebuild this year mindset. And I do think that Soto leaves a huge hole that you don't replace a guy like that. Yeah, but they're probably better top to bottom, as far as the back end of the lineup than they have been. But it's rough. And yes, as a Yankees fan, the Red Sox did get better. They got Garrett Crochet in trade from the White Sox, who was a very good starter last year. They also signed Walker Buehler from LA in free agency, and then add to that Alex Bregman, who was the right-handed bat that was available, and so that makes them good. So there's going to be competition, and obviously the Mets and the Yankees, different leagues, so they're not in direct competition, but there's still just that competition within the city that I don't think. I don't think the Yankees people are okay with being second fiddle to the Mets. But as you mentioned it, the Mets are, I guess somewhat snake bitten, because they've done this big money spin where they got Scherzer and Verlander a few years ago, and the wheels came completely off, and they traded everybody and ended up being, sellers limping into the offseason, and now they're making another run of it here. So I guess that all goes to say that you don't win on paper and you don't win in the offseason. You still have to.
The only way you win in the offseason is whatever you buy when you go out to buy the groceries. When you go to make the meal, it better produce.
Right.
Because we've seen that with Aaron Rodgers.
We talked about that with the Jets. Spoiled milk,
right.
You're not gonna finish off the recipe. But so there's just tons going on.
So, but let's direct it now to the Rangers. The Rangers and Bochy more so is known to win one, take a year off, and let's do it again. No Scherzer. Hopefully we have a healthy DeGrom for the whole season. What do you think? We'll start it off this way. We'll kind of send in the weekend with this because Texas Rangers baseball was one of the other things that people said, what's next? What is the biggest strength going into the 2025 season for the Texas Rangers?
Well, the biggest strength is that they've added overall depth to the bullpen. I don't think they have the back-end guy, but the bullpen top to bottom should be better. That's good. Re-signed Eovaldi. DeGrom's ready to go right off the bat. So they have starting pitchers. So there's options there. There's a little bit of depth in the starting pitching with Gray, with Bradford. So and then Tyler Mahle should start the season healthy. After being out most of the year last year. So then you have Rocker and Leiter as the rookies that came on last year and had Rocker had very good success. So we look for maybe that to continue. So there's depth in pitching. So that's the biggest difference in going into last year. And then on the offensive side, Nate Lowe was traded, but they brought in Jake Berger to play first base. He's got some pop and probably not as complete a hitter as Nate Lowe, but does have pop, hits home runs. Jock Peterson to be the DH, which last year they did not really have anybody that fit into that role. So that's going to add to that lineup. They're a very, very deep lineup. But the key to the offensive success is bounce back. Evan Carter had a injury-plagued, not good season. Josh Young injured, out for quite a bit of time. Adolis Garcia, Jonah Heim, not injured, but just did not have the kind of seasons that you had hoped after their good runs in 22 and 23. Took a step back in 24. So the where the Rangers go kind of depends on how that all plays out on the offensive side. Because I do think that you don't have to squint real hard to see that with Simeon, Seager, and Langford at the top of your lineup, and Wyatt Langford had a great end of the year last year. With those guys at the top, few guys fit in, come back to where they need to be, produce like they have, those guys that we traded for or signed in free agency. It's not hard to see this offense really clicking. The overall predictions, when you look at all of the simulation things and all the the StatCast, the fan graphs, all of those things that they have the Rangers as top in the division. A lot of people are picking the Rangers to win as far as the general consensus, but it's also picked to be the tightest division in baseball with the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners. So it should be, and we get to watch that right off the bat with the games against Mariners earlier in the year. So it should be right from the get-go. We'll have to try to set some dominance in the West.
Well, and very much of what's next is baseball. Have a great weekend. Get out to Hess tomorrow night to support Josh. Have a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. So long, everybody. All right.